All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's learning time. Now, today's lesson is all about solving one-step equations. Now, those are math equations, math sentences that have a variable in it. Now, in order to do that, there's a vocabulary term that we need to learn. That is inverse operations. Now, in order for this, I'm going to cut to a much grumpier, much more disoriented Mr. Nugent. Whoop.
Inverse operations are operations that undo each other. Now leave me alone so I can go to sleep. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, he's very grumpy. I tend to leave him alone in the mornings. Now, to solve one-step equations, that means you're going to use the inverse operation. You're going to use the opposite of what you're given on the problem. So if you're given addition, the opposite of that is subtraction. If you're given subtraction, the opposite of that is addition. Now, I'll go over this because it may not look like in the second step that we're using subtraction, but we are. Now, over here, you have x plus 8 equals 16. Now, you have your variable, and what's happening to the variable? How is the variable interacting with the numbers that we have? It's through addition. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. Very good. So we have negative 8. So we subtract 8. Positive 8, opposite of that is negative 8. So subtracting 8. You have to subtract 8 from both sides. If you do it to the left, you have to do it to the right. Very good. And what I talk about there is this, the equation sign. If you do it to the left side of the equation, you have to do it to the right side of the equation. I'm going to get rid of that because it doesn't actually mean what you think it means. So 16 minus 8. 16 minus 8 is 8. So what we're saying is I got rid of this. I'm going to bring this down. X equals 8. Now, when we solve these, you can go back and check. So let's go back and check. We claim that x is 8. So let's plug it in. 8 plus 8 equals 16. Our answer is true. We're good. We're in the clear on this one. Now let's try a substitution one. Now I know what you're saying. That's an addition sign. And I know. That's true. But what we're going to be doing is the opposite of subtraction. Because let's look. Our variable is positive. Good. But we're not dealing with the variable. We're dealing with the numbers interacting with the variable. And what kind of number is the number that's interacting with the variable? It's a negative. So technically, it's like subtracting. So, negative 6. What's the opposite of subtracting? Adding. So I have to add 6 in order to get rid of it. But you do it to the left, you do it to the right. And I end up with 10 plus 6. Oh, that was terrible. Let me just write it this way. 10 plus 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. Very good. Now I know what you're saying. I'm going to drag this whole thing down. So I drag down my leftovers, because this we got rid of. I'm going to drag down the x and the equal sign. So we are claiming that x equals 16. But Mr. Nugent, I don't know if that's going to work. Let's check. Let's plug in our answer. Negative 16 plus negative 6 plus 16. So I'm down 6, and I have to add 16. That gets me to a positive 10. Very good. Now, I'm just going to flip. We're going to have a longer video today. I'm just going to flip instead of chunking it into 2, because this is actually a little easier. Now, we have multiplication and division. How is the 3 interacting with their x? There is no addition sign between it. There is no subtraction sign between it. And there is no division bar. There is no fraction bar indicating that it's division. So if you see the number smack up against the variable, that indicates that we are dealing with multiplication. Now, the opposite of multiplication is division. Very good. So I'm going to end up dividing both sides by 3. Sorry, I should have done the first time. Dividing both sides by 3. What's 15 divided by 3? 5. And therefore, x equals 5. Plug it in, double check. 3 times 5, 15. We're good. Last one. Now, it looks like a fraction because technically division is fractions. Okay? We need to understand that. X over 5. How is the x interacting with the 5? There is a fraction bar, and fraction is division. Remember that. Fraction is division. So this is division. Now, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. Now, it's being divided by 5, so what you need to do is multiply both sides by 5. You take this side, you multiply it by 5, and what happens is it gets rid of it here, and it gets rid of it here, because they're inverse operations. They undo each other, and that leaves us with an x. 3 times 5, 15. So, for this problem, x equals 15. I erased it, so I can't actually double check because I don't remember what I wrote there. But that's today's lesson. Inverse operations is the most important thing. You need to remember whatever you're seeing on the paper, you need to remember what's the opposite of it, okay? How is the number interacting with the variable? Is it multiplication, division, addition, subtraction? Whatever it is, you do the opposite to both sides of the equal sign in order to solve. Okay, I know it's a lengthy video, but I apologize. See you later, Stingrays.